Pablo says, I found a supplier locally that has both ceramic fiberboard and castable refractory rated at 3,000 degrees. Are there plus and minus on either? Yes, Pablo, there definitely are pros and cons to both. You know, I prefer the ceramic fiberboard. I've definitely experimented a lot with both, and that is my choice. The ceramic fiberboard offers higher performance burn because it's more insulative. I think it offers better longevity in terms of thermal wear. Refractory, when you start getting into bigger pieces, it's really likely that you will develop cracks due to thermal shock. Even though it's refractory, we just have big thermal changes across. Like if it's in the core and it's the roof, let's say, like this part gets super hot really quick while this part's really cold, that just tends to crack refractory slabs of any description. So I feel like hard cast refractory has a much higher chance of cracking and potentially needing to be replaced, within the decade, whereas ceramic fiberboard, you won't have any of those issues, but what you might have is abrasion wear. And I just put, anywhere where there's a chance of abrasion wear, which is just the firebox, I either accept that I'm going to replace those or I protect it. So I feel like the ceramic fiberboard is my preference. I also feel like castable refractory is a giant pain, and it's typically just it's so much work to form your molds and do your castings and cure it right and hope it doesn't crack, and it was expensive. The dust is really dangerous. People talk about ceramic fiber being dangerous to your lungs. Castable refractory is just as bad, if not worse. It's already powder. So there's a whole lot of reasons that I have gone away from castable refractory, and I'm not trying to put it in a negative light, because it is, I would put ceramic fiberboard and castable refractory sort of on, equal sort of pedestals on both sides, depending on what your choice is in terms of building styles. So ceramic fiberboard, super easy to build with, right? You just cut it into the boards. Castable refractory, you got to build a mold, you got to mix it, you got to pour it, you got to cure it or dry it, then cure it, which if you read none of us cure it right. We're supposed to have kilns where we keep it for like 2 days at 1,300 degrees. Most of us just stick it in the firebox and call it a day, because we can't cure it the way it's intended to. So there's just a whole lot of reasons I think castable refractory is, don't get me wrong, it was my number one choice until ceramic fiberboard came along. And it absolutely works. And in some places, I would argue it's the superior choice. There are places like maybe the firebox sides, it might be just great to cast those out of refractory slabs and not have to worry about ceramic fiber abrasion. But again, it's really up to you in terms of what you're willing to do for work, what you're willing to do for, cost, time, durability. There's just a whole host of questions. And I would definitely say that castable refractory is not more durable than ceramic fiberboard. That's one of the biggest misunderstandings that we get when people look at ceramic fiberboard. They will often say, I'm going to choose fire bricks because they're more durable, or I'm going to choose castable refractory because it's more durable. And I strongly believe the opposite. I think ceramic fiberboard, while it's fragile to abrasion wear, it's much more durable to thermal shock than either of those dense materials. And as we saw from, I think it was, did we look at it? It's a post on Donkey's board, the fellow rebuilding his fire brick J. All of his top fire bricks were completely blown apart after 7 years of burning. So hard fire bricks and cast refractory are in no means and should never be considered a permanent part of a build. They will need replacing because they will crack. So that's my opinion in terms of what I prefer. I prefer the ceramic fiberboard. I would much rather deal with a little bit of softness and abrasion wear than casting the work of building the molds. It's just a lot of work. You're just building wooden boxes, it's just a pain. So anyways, I I sound pretty negative on castable refractory because after building so many stoves, you know, if I'm looking at building a J-tube, it's the difference of getting a board of ceramic fiberboard and cutting it with a knife and stacking up my core, or going out to the shop and literally spending probably a few days building molds and casting. So there's a huge difference in the input you put into getting from raw materials to burning a core. Ceramic fiberboard, it's like an hour. Castable refractory, it's like a week, 40 hours of work. And so to put in that much work, I'm hoping I'm going to get a huge benefit, and I just don't see it. So, I mean, if they were equal amount of work, if I could cut out of her, you know, if I could go buy a castable refractory and just cut my slabs, and it'd be a much closer toss-up. So there's that.